What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to react to a video that I've seen. Shout out to Black Balloon, and basically, it this video was about Kevin Durant, like, and the possibility of Kevin Durant or the speculation that Kevin Durant has sold out, right? But I want to go take it a bit further than that and speak about why I think basketball players today are more likely to sell out than basketball players back in the past, right? And so now, before I play this video, I just want to say that, like, a big part of the reason that a lot of these basketball players sell out for is they don't realize like how much control that they have over their brand, or if they do, they don't realize how to go about um, cultivating their brand and building that fan base so that when they're done playing the sport, that they'll be able to capitalize on their brand. And so by that I mean that they don't take the fan base as serious as they should, you know. And I remember Michael Jordan saying that, you know, like he never wanted to miss a game, right? So if the Chicago Bulls were going to go play the Washington Wizards, he wouldn't take that game off because he thought that even the fans of a team that wasn't really all that good, man, they paid big money to see him. And so, you know, if you go to see the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan is there, you know, I mean, he on the team, you want to see him play. That's what, you know what I mean? That's why you bought the ticket, not necessarily just to support your Washington Wizards, but you wanted to see Michael Jordan play. And so fans appreciate that about basketball players like Michael Jordan, who uh who thought like that, who operated like that. You know, it was that was the thing. Like you're going to see Larry Bird. You know, you're going to see Magic Johnson. You know, back in the day, if those guys when those guys played. Nowadays, they don't. These players don't see the value in their fan base and the loyalty. Like if you show the fan base that type of loyalty and dedication, then they will always reward you even after your career is over with. So these players do not pour into their fan base. So and that's part of it. You know what I mean? Then on top of that, everybody know about the lifestyle that these players lead. Most of these guys, you know, once they start making that money, then they you know, they start spending more money, right? So those are some things that you want to keep in mind, right? But with that being said, let me play the this video and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna give my reaction.
All right, y'all. We back with another video, man. Y'all already know what's going on. All right. Now, check this out. I don't think I've really done a compilation video in a minute. So I was like, hey, why not cover some of this stuff that's been going on the internet lately? Rather, small or big topic. We'll just talk about a few things. Now, first, I don't even care if Kevin Durant came out and said that this is AI, right? I already did a little search, to see what was going on because I saw some clips on TikTok that I'm gonna still show y'all of people talking about it. And they were already saying Kevin Durant came out and said that this is AI, right? The shoe is real. Like this shoe is a real shoe, right? And so out of nowhere, these photos start popping up of KD posing with this big candy red apple in his mouth and a red tank top on, everything, right? And so I'm just like, hold on now. I know they ain't got KD doing the wild, zesty pose. But the only reason I even covered this, I'm like, all right, they'll tell us anything is AI. And who knows? This could have been real. This could have been some real live promotion for these new KD 19s, like this new style of shoe that he's basically putting out, which these shits are trash. They don't definitely the older KD models look way better.
Yeah, so let me just stop it right there, right? Um, and like I said, people don't know, you know, from the ad that was played, like if Kevin Durant is selling out. But anytime they see you, you know, they see an athlete do something different or something out of the norm or something that is questionable, you know what I mean? Then they're going to want to speculate like that, right? But the thing is, my whole point is not being surprised when you see athletes do things like this, because nowadays athletes really don't, they're willing to take that risk. They choose the corporation over the fan base. So if somebody from a corporation tell them that this is a good idea, um, it's going to be provocative, it's going to be polarized, it's going to be polarizing. That, like in today's thoughts, they don't, they think that any publicity is good publicity. So to be polarizing is not really, they're not thinking that it is a bad thing. Whereas though, if an athlete is polarizing and an ad that they want to run or something that they do is not, don't work out, that'll forever tarnish their brand, but not necessarily the brand of the person that's sponsoring them, right? They can just move on. They can scrap that idea, move on to the next athlete. And so athletes are not really realizing that. They're not really paying any attention to that. They're thinking they're side with the corporations because that's who paying they, that's who is paying them like immediately. They see that immediate gain from the corporation. They don't see it as the fan base, like protecting my image, protecting my brand with the fan base. They're not even looking at it like that. They're looking at as getting as much money as they can, and they're not controlling their fan base. So let me get back to some more of what this what the guy on the show is saying.
But I just wanted to get y'all opinion. Y'all think it's straight up AI, or you think this might have been one of them soft disclosed promos? And look, we talking about Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? It's almost what they say. Any publicity is good publicity. It don't matter if it's, if they say it's AI or if it's not true. If your name is being talked about, is with these shoes. I don't know, man. I feel like Nike said, "Hey, we need to do something. We need to."
That and see, you hear people say that any publicity is good publicity, and like I just said a second ago, that's not that's not true. So if that was true, then big brands wouldn't be doing everything in their power to protect their image. They just throw anything out there, whether it was controversial or provocative. They'll just be throwing anything out there, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to associate anything. Uh, they don't want to associate themselves with anything that is not really conducive to their brand being shown in a positive light. So if big brands, and big department stores and big people, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and all these other large brands, Gatorade and all that stuff, man, they're very conscious about their brand and who they associate their brand with. They don't really they don't take big chances and gamble a lot with their brand. Whereas though they'll gamble with the brand of somebody like a Kevin Durant or something, you know what I mean? They'll gamble with that because, if that goes south, then all they got to do is separate themselves from somebody like that. And then they can, then they can move on. But Kevin Durant has to be the one, and these professional athletes, they have to be the ones who are concerned with their brands and how they're portrayed and stuff like that. So if somebody, a sponsor, asks you to do something that's questionable, as you know what I mean, you like, well, do that fit my brand? Like, and like you don't want to advertise everything because everything is not for you. You know, you can't have somebody like Kevin Durant advertising for what's that the stuff people used to put like Jerry curls. You know what I mean? He don't have no hair, so why would he be advertising for something that like Jerry curls? He don't have like any hair, anything. So why would he advertise with that? That's not his brand. Or somebody or smoking cigars, like he's an athlete, and he don't smoke cigars. So why would he promote, cigars or alcohol if that's not something that he do? So these players have to be more conscious and recognize the amount of influence that they have and learn how to cultivate that influence, right? And so they won't get caught up in these situations where you see, like even though he said that this is AI, even if it's not true, if it wasn't, let's say it's not true, right? And he has always taken the opportunity Kevin Durant has to cultivate his brand. The fans is believable when he say, "No, nah, that's not me." You know, he only had to put a whole lot of effort in it. You know, you see him doing something that's out of character because you know what his brand is. If you're a fan of his, you know what his brand is. So he could say, "Yeah, no, that's not me." You know, it's just AI. And some people may not even question that because they, you know, you already know what his brand is and how, you know, what things that he like to you know, associate with and connect himself with. So, but you know, like I said, these players, some of these players today, man, they let the corporations control their brand. And that's not a good idea. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. With that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.